Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm here to discuss a subject that probably won't earn me many friends, but needs to be said, that is intensely controversial concerning the use of space heaters and animal husbandry, not just in tarantulas, but scorpions and other invertebrates. These things are intensely dangerous and pose a direct threat to human life, and frankly should never be used unless a responsible adult is in the room and awake and supervising their use. These things are strictly temporary. They are strictly for breakdowns in your home system for emergency use only. Let's see. We'll take a few articles here. Okay, let's see. Just look at this. Okay, this is an example here. The Advocate. Zachary mother, 2 children die in fires as frigid temperatures cling to South Louisiana. Mother and 2 young daughters became the latest victim to die in a fire, as officials on Thursday warned residents to be careful how they heat their homes while sub-freezing weather continued to keep South Louisiana in its grips. During a news conference Thursday afternoon, Mayor President Sharon Weston Broom said she was disturbed by the drastic rise in fire-related deaths in East Baton Rouge Parish that have occurred over the past few weeks. The latest blaze in Zachary Wednesday night occurred when flames tore through a mobile home, killing Dana Lidlong, 30, and her 2 daughters, 10-month-old Mallory McClone and 8-year-old Michaela Pridenow. Broom said the Zachary fire marked the 3rd fatal fire in the parish over the past week. 6 people have died in house fires since Tuesday, prompting local officials to voice their concerns about public safety, particularly during cold weather when people start using space heaters and other methods to warm their homes. This is what happens when you use these things and walk away. Just try another one. Just back up here. Let's see, back up. Killed by a space heater. Let's see. This is from the Daily Mail. Killed by a space heater, tragic house fire that killed 6 children from the same family while hero 8-year-old girl pulled her mom to safety could have been caused by an electric heater. The 9 children who were inside the house have been pictured together in a family portrait shared online. Relatives also identified the surviving children from the photo, naming them Aaron, Jack, and Jane. Children killed were 2 boys aged 9 months and 2 years, 3-year-old twin girls, and 2 girls aged 10 and 11. Home belonged to Katie Malone, veteran staffer with Maryland House Representative Elijah Cummings. Congressman Cummings asked for prayers for Malone, who has worked for more than 11 years. Malone's distraught husband said their 9 children were at home at the time of the blaze. He was working. Firefighters arrived 12:30 a.m. on Thursday, said flames had already engulfed all 3 floors of the home. Investigators are investigating the possibility that a faulty electric heater caused the catastrophic house fire that claimed the lives of 6 children in Baltimore on Thursday. While they admitted it's too early to say, fire chiefs have said that the inferno could have been started by a simple space heater used to keep the chilling winter weathers at bay. Relatives said Aaron was able to save the younger brother Jack and the younger sister Jane. Names of the other children have not been released. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help the family cope with the tragedy. More than $117,000 has been raised so far. All 6 bodies have been recovered from the home and everyone has been accounted for. Goes on, details. You can see here. Take a good look. This is in cold, and these things are set up in cold weather. This isn't even, these things aren't even running at normal room temperature. I'm not even going to click on these images for space heaters, fatal fires, and dead children. I'm not even going to bother with that. You really don't want to see that. That's just horrible. I'll just here. Next. Okay. It says, do not, this one says, do not plug space heaters into power strips, fire department warns. The Oregon Fire Department is sharing a warning about how dangerous it is to plug a space heater into a power strip. With weather getting colder, people are bringing out their space heaters, but it can melt a power strip if plugged in. The Unattended County Fire Department, District Number 1, Hermanston, Oregon, posted the warning along with a picture on Sunday. The post has been shared more than 18,000 times. Just wanted to remind you, you should not plug a heater into a power strip. The unit's not designed to handle the high current flow. And it goes on. I mean, let's just do one more. Fire officials. Space heater caused fatal fire in Poughkeepsie. Fire officials stated a natural gas space heater was to blame for Tuesday morning fire that destroyed the Poughkeepsie home and took the life of local resident Stanislaw Stalislak. Fatal fire that occurred Tuesday morning. Oh, crying out loud, buffering. It said Tuesday morning the town was caused by a natural gas-fueled space heater malfunctioning. And why is this thing not even loading? Killed a person. And just do one last one. Fatal fire was at least third at family's residence. Michelle Mitchell, 3 sons, placed a sign, 2 stuffed animals, and 2 flowers at the foot of a telephone pole where C and Franklin Streets intersect Friday evening. Sign said heaven gained 3 angels, RIP 12-12-14. Makeshift memorial lies a mere 20 feet from the charred remains of a 2-story home where 3 children lost their lives in a devastating fire Friday morning. Alexander Flores, 7, Zeno Flores Ortiz, 10, Yesna Flores Ortiz, 12, all died from injuries sustained in the fire, 135 Franklin Street. Father Ishmael Michael Flores Ortiz suffered severe burns while trying to get back inside the house to save the children. He remains at University of Cincinnati Medical Center where he's listed in critical condition. The mother, Crystal Flores, and her 2-year-old son, Anthony Flores Ortiz, who was shaking and vomiting at the scene, were taken to Fort Hamilton Hospital for treatment. Crystal Flores was discharged at 6 a.m. and then transported to UC Medical Center. The couple's 9-year-old son, Ishmael Flores Ortiz, escaped without injury, and a 2-year-old was released from Fort Hamilton Friday is with the family. Now you can see where I'm going with this. A lot of individuals, out of concern for fatalities to tarantulas and other animals occurring because the heat source is too close and too powerful in the cage, have resorted to using these space heaters, which are not designed for such use. Not only these things here. There's just a password here. You shouldn't have closed that stupid thing. Okay. These things are not HVAC ready equipment. Fact is, there's safer alternatives to these. If you're gonna use going to heat a room up to 80 degrees or 82 degrees or whatever. There are safer alternatives. These things are not, these space heaters are not HVAC equipment. They are not designed or intended to be used day after day after day with or without anyone present for any reason, no reason at all. And to make matters worse, well, not worse, but it's otherwise worth mentioning that resistance electric heat is extremely inefficient and very expensive. These little $80 things that you get from Walmart that say low, medium, or high are going to add $50, $100, $200 a month to your power bill. They're going to totally break the bank. There are other ways, better ways of heating your home. Okay, these units here, let's see. This is an 8,000 BTU cooling capacity unit. Why the hell is this thing not? Frigidaire FFRH0822R1, 8,000 BTU, 150 volt compact slide out chassis air conditioner with heat pump and remote control. This thing is, this thing costs about, it's about, a little over $400. So this is the guy here. It's $429. Using Freon to conduct heat and cooling is much more efficient. It's much safer, and it's much more effective. Window-mounted units are full-grade HVAC units that are designed to run safely with or without somebody present in the home. Using cheap electronic junk puts your lives at risk, your family at risk, and yes, your spiders and other pets at risk as well. I mean, it is not good for the hobby to let us say, have it be known that you had a bunch of dead kids and dead animals or destroyed buildings because, you were doing some breeding project to get your P. metallica to have 200, spiderlings, and you're, jacking up the temperature for that purpose. And I realize that, $400 for heat pump is, can be expensive even for some people, even though in the long run it's cheaper to run them because you're not going to have that huge power bill. There's a better way. You can safely use lights, lamps, power strips if you control what the output is and determine what the correct power level is prior to putting the tarantula in the cage. You don't just plug the thing into the wall, throw a heat lamp directly on the screen, and then, expect it to be safe. This is a ZoomEd thermometer, a digital thermometer, a point and shoot. It's an item number RT-1. Let's just see what it does. I'll put it at my forehead. And we can see that this device says it's about 95 degrees. So if I touch my forehead and then with one hand and touch the enclosure with the other, and it's warmer than 95 degrees, I know I got to turn the power down. The power strips are, if you have a heat mat, of course, any heat mat should never be mounted underneath the cage, lower than the level of the tarantula. The heat source should be mounted above or to the side of the tarantula. It should not create a hot spot. It should not be mounted on the top of the screen directly where the animal can go and harm itself. It should be about 8 inches above. That way you're creating an even diffuse amount of heat that does not create any hazardous hot point where the animal can hurt itself. If you take, this is an old enclosure that I haven't used. If this thing here, let's say this thing here is 85 degrees. Guess what? That's the maximum temperature. Your home is 73. There's a humidity gauge in here. It's not that important. The other thing in here you'll notice is a strip thermometer inside of the enclosure. It accurately reflects what the temperature is going to be. Now this is going to be my next enclosure for Monocentrophus balfouri when I do rehouse. Same temperature. You don't even need to have a thermometer inside of your enclosure. If you're using a 4x4 box, set your power level, point this thing at all areas, touch it with your hand, feel where it's hot, where it's cold. Take this thing, you can even put a piece of tape over it. Unlike your space heater, say you're using a 25-watt bulb or very low power unit, you can plug a 25-watt bulb into a power strip. You can plug a lamp into a power strip. In fact, you can even take a piece of tape and put it over this, so that way it doesn't go any higher than it should. Now, yes, people have used these things. They've plugged them straight into the wall. They didn't test them. They put elements inside of the enclosure, which should never be done. And yes, if you use these things improperly, you will certainly kill your animal. If you use a gun improperly, you'll kill yourself and your animal. Doesn't mean they'll have a gun. If you ride a motorcycle like an idiot and wreck, you'll die. Doesn't mean don't have a motorcycle. It means use it the right way, test it, measure it, and you'll be safe. Use a quality enclosure that they can't get out of. Not some jerry-rigged thing that, it's 50 cents that they can escape from, unless it's a proven design that is proven to work, built by someone else, and you're copying something that has been proven to work hundreds or thousands of times before exactly, and you have to have the mechanical aptitude to do that. Frankly, it's better just to buy something from Jamie's or Zoomed or Exoterra and, use that. I mean, these kind of heaters are used with snakes, lizards, amphibians, all kinds of animals successfully without killing them. But like anything else, you have to set the temperature correctly. And once it's set correctly, write it down. Take a picture of the dial and its position, place it by the enclosure, print it out on paper so that way you know where it is, how it works, and how to set it back. The other thing you want to do before you put the animal in is yes, you want to plug it straight into the wall to see just how hot it's going to get. That way you know what the worst case scenario is and how not to get above it. And once you find your ideal range, 78, 80, 82, 83, whatever the animal needs, you know what it is. You can also, there's also a lot of other neat things you can do with heat. Take a hot side here. Now this is not a covering. I can cover up the middle part. I can take a plastic plate. The interesting thing is, the hot air rises, cold air sinks. I can create a hot side and a cold side. I can even put another thermometer on this side. I have this side. I've used this cage before. This side, typically, the cold side is about the home here. It ranges from 68 to 71 degrees. This thing will be about 74, 75. This thing will be about 80, and this thing will be about 82, 83. Perfectly safe for tarantulas. And this guy here, the actual element, typically it's about 85 or 86. Again, a little high, but not unsafe. Remember, there's glass on the other side. So on the other side, it's not 85 or 86. It's about, 83, whatever. You can use these things safely. You can use these things safely if you test them and verify them before their use. It's not hard to understand. Of course, if you don't want to accelerate growth and you're not breeding and you really don't care how long the thing stays a sling for, it can stay an inch or, you know, grow half an inch a year, whatever, you don't really need to use it. But a lot of people use the space heaters because they work. Elevating the temperature of these animals to where they live works. I mean, I've had an uncle who fought in Korea. I've had several acquaintances and friends who fought in Vietnam and other areas in East Asia. Let me tell you something. It's not 73 degrees. The humidity is not 40 or 50%. And there are indeed a lot of exotic organisms, including tarantulas. In fact, one or two of my friends have even told me that there are tarantulas living in that area that are, 1 to 2 feet long that have not been discovered by science, and they insist that they've seen them that, 3 or 4 feet away in broad daylight, and, and even that some people have been injured by them, and there's a lot of animals that are yet to be found, and who knows, that might even be true. Science is a wonderful thing. So this message is not popular, but it needs to be said. Before somebody dies or is injured or has debilitating burns for the rest of their life, don't use these cheap ass junk space heaters. They're dangerous, they're unnecessary, and even if you manage not to get yourself killed, you're going to have double and triple your electric bill. What it is, you get a quality window-mounted heat pump that uses Freon to convey heat much better. If your room is already, say, 70 degrees, and you're just raising the temperature up to 80, that's 10 degrees. You could take the least powerful unit here on Amazon. We'll just see what it is here. If I have to, type in the password again. The least powerful unit here is a cold front WAC 12001W, which is a 12,000 BTU 220 volt heat cool window air unit air conditioner. It's $350. The other device here, this is actually $359 for whatever reason. This is just an 8,000 BTU air conditioner with a 3,500 BTU heater, plenty to heat up a room a mere 10 to 15 degrees. $359. 8,000 BTU cooling, 890 watts. And by the way, you don't want to plug this thing into a power strip either. You want to plug it directly into an outlet. 350 square feet of coverage area, remote control included, 2-year warranty, 4-way air directional louver, 3 span speeds, 4 operational modes. And this thing is cheap. This thing is just $359. It's a fraction of what 10 or 20 tarantulas and enclosures are worth. And it's certainly worth a lot less than your life. These space heaters, and I got into it with another forum today, doesn't matter who or what, but we had a big, shout fest over this, which is why I'm talking about the issue. It will not do the hobby any good for somebody to get killed because they were trying to heat up a room full of tarantulas that'll invite unwelcome scrutiny, unwelcome attention, and bad press that we don't need. I mean, people who keep spiders are considered kind of odd anyway. I've had quite a few of these tarantulas. I've had a sea versicolor since last year. I think about May or June. It's currently January now. I've kept it at 80 degrees. I have a heat lamp that is located about, it's about a foot above the enclosure. She's doing great. I got her, she was a 1/2-inch sling. Now she's almost 3 inches long. Second one I had, Lasiodora klugi, August or late July 2017. She's about 1.5 inches. Now she's pushing 5 inches today. After that, I think around November, got a first Old World tea, Milestotropis balfouri. 1-inch sling. Today, and her little 4x4 isn't even quite 80, it's just up to about 77, 78. She's about 2.5 inches long, and she's almost ready to be rehoused. Her leg span is more than half the diameter of that 4x4 enclosure. She's, I'm looking at her, she's a little bit bigger than the 2-inch screen vent that's on there. And this is one of those Jamie's juvenile 4x4x4 enclosures with a 2-inch vent on the top. It's about $8. You know, 0 fatalities, 0 injuries, 0 problems. I've also had impressive growth. I feed them 2 or 3 times a week. Pretty much give them whatever they eat. I'll, drop the food into the baboon. I'll give it a mealworm or whatever, or a cricket. It comes up, eats the cricket, closes the burrow off. 1 or 2 days later, the burrow opens up, the spider's there, legs up in the air, feed me again. Okay? Remember Little Shop of Horrors, that big plant that, wanted more and more food? That's what they do. Again, 0 fatalities, 0 injuries. And I'm tired of people stating that these animals have died. I can take pictures of them now. They're fine. And, there is kind of a double standard where I do something successfully with no injuries, and then you have idiots running around advocating things that are, sooner or later going to kill innocent people. And if you've used one of these things for years and gotten away with it, congratulations. The gods and goddesses look out for drunks, fools, and children for a long time. But their patience wears thin, and nobody gets lucky forever. So, this is going to be unpopular. It's going to raise hell. It's probably going to get me kicked off every forum around, but it needs to be said. There's no reason why your personal safety has to be balanced against the optimum growth rate of any other life form. It just doesn't have to happen. Human beings have been using heat, controlling heat and humidity. Humidity probably for close to 100 years. They've been controlling heat for hundreds of thousands of years. Join us. Thank you very much.